In this fifth article, we will discuss UI construction using UIKit, GS2's UI component system. UIKit is a solution that greatly streamlines the process of building UI on game engines. Until now, client developers have developed UIs by retrieving data from the server and programming the UI to reflect the values. The UIKit differs from this approach in that it allows the game engine to declaratively define which data on GS2 is to be reflected in the text component and display the values in the UI without writing any programs. The following is a description of the UIKit components used in this project. This component obtains values from GS2. This component is given to a game object, and the type of data is defined and used. If a component that references data is given to a child node, it will operate using the value of the data obtained by the fetcher that exists in the parent hierarchy. This component displays information about data acquired by the parent node fetcher. The value is formatted in the format specified by the format parameter, and the onUpdate callback is invoked. By specifying a text component in the onUpdate callback, the text value can be updated. This component enables or disables a node depending on the status of the data. Depending on the type of data, there are different conditions that can be set for activation. For example, for GS2 Showcase Display Item, you can control whether to display or not based on conditions such as data is being loaded, available for purchase, or not available for purchase. Due to the nature of Unity, if a component with an enabler attached is hidden, the display judgment process stops working and the component cannot be displayed even if it meets the display conditions again. Enablers should be placed at the parent level of the node they are actually operating on. The UIKit provides a support prefab that allows simple GS2 API calls to be executed without writing programs. GS2 Exchange is a prefab for executing exchanges with GS2 Exchange. By specifying a rate model to execute the exchange process can be executed simply by activating the gamey object to which the component is attached. This concludes our study of the UIKit. Now, let's actually implement and use the UIKit. Now, let's actually implement this in Unity. First, define the GS2 resource we will be using in Scriptable object. This is going to take a long time for something so simple, so I'm going to deliver it 3 times faster. Now we are ready to assemble the UI. Let's use the UIKit to realize the login process as well. First, place the GS2 client folder prefab in the UIKit. Place the GS2 account autologin prefab. Then, create an environment, setting Scriptable object, and set the client ID and client secret. Apply the settings to the deployed prefab. From this point on, we will be deploying the UI for a while. We will not be doing any programming work, so this will be delivered at 4x speed. Now that the UI is ready, let's add some behavior with the UI kit. We want to display the current quantity of potions possessed. First, add a fetcher, which will be a scriptable object representing a potion. Then, add a label. Check the placeholder for format. Set onUpdate to a text component. Next, we want to display the value of the exchange counter. Add a fetcher as well and set the counter type. Next, add a label, set the format, and set the text component in onUpdate. Set up an exchange rate fetcher and set the exchange rate. The text component will reflect the information on the items available through the exchange. Reflect the number of remaining exchanges in the text component. Associate the Exchange button with a support prefab for the exchange process. The support prefab is initially inactive and becomes active when the Exchange button is pressed. Prepare an inactive button to be displayed when in the exchange state. Use an enabler to switch the button to be displayed when it is ready to be exchanged and when it has been exchanged. Let's execute it. Communication will take place on its own, and the text component will reflect the value. Press the Exchange button. The UI will follow the subsequent state changes on its own. You may notice that the initial value of the text component is displayed for a moment at startup. Let's try not to display the component while it is loading. Add an enabler and set it to activate the text component node when loading is complete. We will triple the speed as similar work continues. Let's run it. Unlike before, it will now be displayed when loading is complete. If you do not want to display the screen until the loading is finished, you can use GS2 SDK to acquire data at least once at startup, as is generally done, so that a cache is created and flickering is eliminated. This concludes the explanation of the UI kit. We hope that you now have an image of the dramatic improvement in development efficiency. Preview of next article. We want to increase the number of ways to obtain items. Next time, let's try to use stamina and the quest function to get items as you complete quests. Please look forward to the next time.